brothers and sisters. My grandmother wasn't up to looking after them all, so my mum and her sisters Helen, Josephine and Patsy were sent to be brought up in a convent. The sisters were very close, but the relationship with their mother was fractious. My grandmother was a most formidable woman and insisted that my mum went down south to have her baby and then give it up for adoption. Well, my 17-year-old dad was having none of it, so he built up his courage and went to face the wrath of Granny Mac. I feel so proud thinking of my teenage dad standing up to his future mother-in-law and telling her, "We're getting married and we're keeping the baby." There was no room for negotiation, and my granny always had respect for my dad after that. My parents got married a few months later in July 1959, and they have just celebrated 60 years of marriage. I came along that November, and for years I thought I was some kind of miracle child because I was 4 months premature. When I was born, my parents moved into a single end, a one-room ground floor flat in the Gorbals in the East End of Glasgow. Once considered the poorest, roughest and most deprived area in Europe. We had no hot water, an outside toilet, and there was just a recess in the wall for the bed. When I was about 3, we moved into a tenement flat in Bridgeton, also in the East End of Glasgow. There we had the luxury of an inside toilet and a dodgy water heater that was so unreliable my mum still had to boil kettles for cooking and washing. Although we didn't have a lot of money, I had a really happy childhood. I had parents who loved me, and I didn't ever feel as if I wanted for anything. In fact, I felt very lucky compared to a lot of my friends because I was so well looked after, and I always knew how much my parents cared about me. Our house was full of books, magazines and newspapers, and my parents had already taught me to read and write by the time I went to primary school, aged 4.5. My mum and dad weren't pushy, but they encouraged my younger brother, Graham, and me to read books, one of the greatest gifts I think any parent can give to their child. That love of reading has stayed with me to this day. Reading opens up new worlds. You can lose yourself in a good book and learn so much without it ever feeling like a chore. I'm sure that those early years gave me my thirst for knowledge because my parents inspired me so much. I got my fascination with astronomy from my dad, and I must have been one of the very few 5-year-olds in the East End with a telescope. I firmly believe our upbringing and early experiences have such a huge impact on our later life. Everything that I've been through, from being bullied at school to loneliness to becoming a mum, has made me who I am today, and I'm grateful for all those experiences, no matter how tough they were. We all have the potential to shine, not just for other people, but for ourselves. We can't truly make other people happy until we've found our own happiness and contentment, and that feeling of quiet calm is what we're all searching for. Whether it's parenting tips from my mum, a pearl of wisdom from one of my best friends, or beauty tips from a Hollywood A-lister, everyone has got something to teach us. I've been just like a sponge over the years, soaking up all this knowledge, and now I want to pass on the highlights to you. I want this book to be a bit like a giant hug and a comforting handhold for when you're feeling a bit low. I've split the book into 3 sections: Spark, Glow and Dazzle. Spark is a sort of first aid kit for the glum days, my advice on how to get your mind in the right place. Glow is all about self-care, ageing, style and beauty. Then the final section, Dazzle, looks at how you can take all of this newfound energy and apply it to your big picture goals. Whether that's starting a new project, making changes within your own world, or making a difference to your community. Whether you want to discover the real you, feel more confident, or give your life a bit of a general kick up the bum, you'll find tips galore to help you on your way. I'm grateful to every single moment of the last 60 years, from my best to my worst, as they've all taught me something and helped me to shine. So come on, let's really try to make every day as fabulous as possible. Love, Lorraine.